This is a gift from Maria for us. It's got some pictures of Palermo. In fact, I'll just turn to this one because it's the same picture, right? There's one picture of Palermo in there,
No, there's several.
which is where Maria's
Yes.
from.
Yes, a picture from the town and my island. So Sicily, the south of Italy.
And then this is a print that
Oh, wow.
we made. It's a math and music print.
Huh.
So I'll pass that around
Yeah.
too.
You should take a
Take a look.
picture of that.
Well, I've got
You have
it
to
scanned, but
okay,
a pictures would
scan
be
it.
a good idea too. But Maria actually has a file that she
Well,
said
why
she
don't we
would
take
I can-
Maria's picture with the,
Oh, there you go, sure.
Wow.
Well, come on up, Maria, come on up. Come on up and hold your hold your
There you
print. Yeah, we're gonna take a picture here. The opening ceremony. Okay.
Of the COI.
The COI, yeah.
good.
Now, Maria, come up here. I need a
Very good, thank
I need a
you.
picture of you here. Bring your print with
Okay.
you there, yeah, and hold that up. Yeah. Okay, so here we are. Show you how to take it. I'm gonna put my hand on
Okay,
there.
here we go, ready, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you.
So Maria, where are you with your dissertation at this point?
Almost done. I will defend my thesis May 6th.
All right.
So almost.
Yeah, cool.
Already completed, submitted the thesis.
Yep.
And yes, I got just some nice news today. Me and two other colleagues, we got an accepted paper.
Oh, wonderful,
All
yeah,
right.
congratulations.
That's
Wonderful.
awesome.
Well, Steve has a daughter who just obtained her doctorate.
Oh,
Yeah, she
Just-
did it
congratulations.
last week.
Yes,
Oh,
so
great.
Yeah,
it's the season for
yeah,
that.
that's right.
Wow, congratulations. Which field?
Comparative religion.
Okay.
Is that what she finally settled on?
Yes.
She just kept comparing. She's got a comparative
She
kind
wanted to do
of.
philosophy and languages and religion, and that sort of worked out for us.
Fabulous.
She wanted to get physics in there too, but it didn't quite work out.
Okay.
You say physics?
She was wanting to, yeah.
Wow, and Maria's in physics.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
She's very artistic, wouldn't you say?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
Darnay is very artistic. And musical?
Yeah,
What does she play?
yeah. It was,
Voice, okay. She doesn't play an instrument? Her parents were playing an instrument, she's chose to do voice.
yeah.
And she's in singing in Easter Mass at
St. Matthew's.
St. Matthew's Cathedral in Washington DC.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
And you're gonna be there, right?
You know, our plane leaves at 6:20 tomorrow morning. We'll see if we miss our plane or
How
not.
did she get to do that? I mean, how did,
She auditioned.
oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I
beautiful.
mean, it's a choir, it's their choir.
Okay, yeah.
So Steve,
That's
I didn't
incredible.
picture. Have you seen Steve? All right, I'm gonna get started here in 30 seconds, so.
Is this,
Your 30-second
Is this
warning.
a pencil?
Actually, I think I'll go grab
Yes,
and get a
yes.
drink of water.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll start.
Yeah.
The scan.
yeah.
I usually prefer the pencil because it's shorter, less time.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the necessary techniques for other things.
Okay.
Also.
I could never draw until I became a mathematician and I got software that I could do. And then I got all excited.
Do you do anything, did that really help you evolve with your
Well,
own?
I don't do anything artistic,
But you like to
I
draw
like
now.
to do graphics.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes you sort of give yourself some grace over a lifetime
Yeah.
to say, okay, it's not perfect, but you know, I like just doodling
Exactly,
or whatever.
yeah.
Comparative religion is very interesting field, but also contemporary.
Yeah.
Also talking with
But our
scholars.
dissertation is on
Yeah.
Turkish thought
Oh,
in
okay.
Islam right now, so it's very, there's lots going on in Turkey. It's a good area. So what are your plans next year?
The official answer is that I don't know yet.
Okay,
Because,
yeah.
because I'm making some job applications.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like which it is officially only composition, even if I've been working in the double field in math.
Yeah.
So when I apply for a job, of course, I cannot apply for a science position this way.
Right.
It's a bit restrictive. And I didn't know that it was possible to make it a double major when I started studying.
Yeah,
So it's a bit harder, so I've been applying for like music theory, composition position, and for postdoctoral position.
sure. Are there some good places to go for that sort of mix with math there?
There are some
Okay.
ways, but it depends, first of all, by people.
Yeah,
Where are people working in that?
sure. Yeah.
Excuse me, the workshop is about to begin.
Sorry.
Our first speaker is Andy Long. Thank you so much. From NKU. Okay, well, I want to welcome you to this first annual, because this is going to continue. This is not a one-off, you know. We don't know what the subject is next year, but it's going to happen. So, right, Steve? It's going to happen. So this one's you. I'm talking to you. Yeah. So I want to begin by, well, I was going to do a few logistics, but I think that's more important for Duke Lee and others. But we have some special welcomes. Now everybody's met Maria. That's great, from the University of Minnesota. And we look forward to the talk later at 3:05, so if you can be here for that, that would be wonderful. The title is Art Helps Math, Math Helps Art, and that's sort of my theme today too. But I discovered last night that Maria is also a gifted artist, and now you've all seen her prints. I don't need to show you again, but I scanned it. Thank you, Steve. You're sort of my Vanna White of this talk. So, and I, of course, want to welcome Duke Lee whenever they arrive. We hope they arrive by 10. That would be good. And I want everybody to have a name tag. All right, and Bethany does have her name tag now, so that's good. So everybody's good. And a few special thank yous. Number one is Suzanne Ritchie, because she's really the one who organizes these things. I would not be the organizer. If I'm anything, I'm the disorganizer. Okay, so I disorganize, and then Suzanne comes and figures out what we really need to do. So, and then there's Steve Wilkinson, my partner in crime, whenever get together and bad things might happen, and sometimes good things happen.
Usually on the bus.
Often on a bus. In fact, we're going to the science march, I hope, next weekend, so together. That'll be good. And Roger Sarnowski, who can't be here at this time, but he's been very supportive. And he'll always say yes when he could say no. And Steve was the same way as chair, so I've been lucky to have very supportive chairs so that they allow these things to happen. The next is the late, great Jim Duke Sainert, whom I never met, but he's the one that provides the cash for this. We have a big slush fund that he endowed our department with, and so it's not hard for me to twist a few arms and say, hey, can we do this really neat thing, and then we do it. So I want to thank him. I never met him. I love him. And then there's my late, great father, Cliff Long, and for a lot of things, but especially for inspiration. And he would be here for sure if he was still around. He loved art and music, and I'm going to actually show a couple of those things today. So you'll see a few of those. So some logistics, parking. The only person who needs one, Steve, you have your parking voucher. And then we have lunch, and that's organized by Suzanne, disorganized by me, and organized by Suzanne. So sandwiches and things coming. And then, of course, we have Maria's talk at 3:05, and a lot of fun up till then. And then dinner, and if you're interested, we'll get to Guru India Restaurant. So our program today, which many of you know about anyway, is, so we had dinner last night, very nice, and today, it was one of our themes. Richard Fox provided this, he's a big Frank Zappa fan, and an inspirational musical artist. Information is not knowledge, knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth, truth is not beauty, beauty is not love, love is not music, music is the best. Frank Zappa. So, when I came, I had a machine called Zappa, and Richard Fox begged me for that name, and I gave it to him. So, so I'm up first here at 9 with a welcome, and then at 10 we have Duke Lee and Debbie Burgess from Esbury College. 11, Steve Wilkinson, our own, will speak a little bit about, well, something about We're not sure what he's going to talk about. He hasn't
Yeah,
given us a
I'm
title. He's
still
not
working
either. Good.
CLI.
That's right, COI. And we've got Christopher Groff coming in to do Markovian music at 11:30. Then we have our lunch break, followed by the AI hour, I call it, with Richard Fox. And then Kevin Kirby coming up at 1:30. And then at 2, we've got Dan Curtin, the soon-to-be retired Dan Curtin, doing patterns and folk music. Some fun stuff there. And then some recursive music by Kristen Booz. So, and then Maria's talk. So, and then dinner after that. So that's our schedule. And so now, a little bit that I'm calling Take 5 easy pieces, homage to 2 things simultaneously. One is a tune by Dave Brubeck that's called Take 5 in 5/4 time, which I think is really interesting. And the other is 5 Easy Pieces, which was a movie featuring Jack Nicholson as a classical pianist who was trying to work a blue-collar job. And it's got a great scene of him in a piano in the back of a pickup truck playing as he drives along. So that's my inspiration for this title. But I'm going to talk about 5 things that were important to me in my development and my interest in mathematics and music. And so my preamble is this. So I took Maria's title there, and I wanted to think about it a little bit. So the idea is that art helps math and math helps art. And I say, which side are you on? The old protest song. Which side are you on? And I personally feel like I'm on the side of the art helps math. Okay, that's where I am. That I use art to try to inform my teaching. And I want to do that if I can. My premise being, my operating assumption is that the more senses one engages, the better the students will perform. So something to think about for you, if you get bored during this little talk, is which side are you on? And then my assertion is that whichever side in that dichotomy is being helped, so art helps math, the art should actually improve the math, you know? Or if math is helping art, then the math should actually improve the art. That's my premise, okay? So is art able to improve my math? And so I start back in the dark history with Tom Lehrer. If you don't know Tom Lehrer, he's a marvelous, still living, born in 1928. He's a pianist and a satirist. And when we were young, my brother and I, we had an album collection and an old Zenith turntable that had the 2 speakers you could detach, you know, and I would sit on the sofa with the speakers like this, listening to different music, you know. And so I learned about stereo, one thing, that there were different sounds coming out of the different speakers. I thought that was interesting. There's a left and a right, you know. And then I played some interesting stuff, and one of the things in their album collection was this album by Tom Lehrer, who was also a mathematician, taught at Harvard, MIT, and a few other places. And on it is a tune called New Math. And so this one, I was probably about 10 years old when I learned this tune. And on the album cover, because that was in the day when you had album covers and there were notes and stuff, they actually worked out this math problem. So if you don't know this, then I hope you will enjoy hearing Tom Lehrer sing us a subtraction problem.
Here. 342 minus 173. Now, remember, we used to do that. 3 from 2 is 9, carry the 1, and if you're under 35 or went to a private school, you say 7 from 3 is 6, but if you're over 35 and went to a public school, you say 8 from 4 is 6. And
This is from the early 60s.
carry the 1, so we have 169. But in the new approach, as you know, the important thing is to understand what you're doing rather than to get the right answer. Here's how they do it now. You can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3, so you look at the 4 in the tens place. Now that's really 4 tens, so you make it 3 tens, regroup, and you change the 10 to 10 ones, and you add to the 2 and get 12, and you take away 3, that's 9. Is that clear? Now instead of 4 in the tens place, you've got 3 because you added 1, that is to say 10 to the 2, but you can't take 7 from 3, so you look in the hundreds place. From the 3, you then use 1 to make 10 ones, and you know why 4 plus minus 1 plus 10 is 14 minus 1, because addition is commutative, right? And so you got 13 tens, and you take away 7, and that leaves 5. Well, 6 actually, but the idea is the important thing. Now go back to the hundredths place. You're left with 2 and you take away 1 from 2, and that leaves, everybody get 1? Not bad for the first day. Hooray for new math. Here go math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it. Now that actually is not the answer that I had in mind, because the book that I got this problem out of wants you to do it in base 8. But don't panic. Base 8 is just like base 10, really, if you're missing 2 fingers.
These are not his animations.
Shall we have a go at it? Hang on. You can't take 3 from 2. 2 is less than 3, so you look at the 4 in the 8's place. Now that's really 4 8s, so you make a 3 8s, regroup, and you change an 8 to 8 1s, and you add to the 2, and you get 1 2 base 8, which is 10 base 10, and you take away 3, that's 7. Okay? Now instead of 4 in the 8's place, you've got 3 because you added 1, that is to say 8 to the 2, but you can't take 7 from 3, so you look at the 64s. 64. How did 64 get into it? I hear you cry. Well, 64 is 8 squared, don't you see? I ask a silly question, you get a silly answer. From the 3, you then use 1 to make 8 1s. You add those 1s to the 3, and you get 1 3 base 8, or in other words, in base 10 you have 11, and you take away 7, and 7 from 11 is 4. Now go back to the 64s. You're left with 2, and you take away 1 from 2, and that leaves... Now let's not always see the same hands. 1, that's right. Whoever got 1 can stay after the show and clean the erasers. Hooray for new math, new cuckoo math. It won't do you a bit of good to review math. It's so simple, so very simple, that only a child can do it. Come back tomorrow night. We're gonna do fractions.
Okay, so that's Tom Lair, and that was, you can imagine me, 10 years old, with the speakers next to my head, and then thinking, this is really interesting, you know, this base 8 stuff. This was at the time just after Sputnik and all that, and computer science was ramping up, so they were interested in teaching kids about bases for computers, octal, etc. So, so I studied the problem on the back of that, kind of understood this base 8 stuff, and got kind of interested in mathematics. That was one of my earliest experiments. Experiences rather, with interesting mathematics. Although our dad was a mathematician, and he was a professor of math at Bowling State University. And of course, around the house we had all kinds of artifacts and things that I was, and in particular, Dad was a musician himself, he was a singer, and he performed with a group called the Logarithms. Silly name. But so I have a composition here, which I was thinking perhaps might fit better with Steve's discussion if he's going to talk about permutations. But this is a barbershop quartet of mathematicians, musicians, that would get together and do all kinds of things. Frequently, the songs were written by Charles Holland, the algebraist, and the most musical of the group. But then, and in particular, this is his tune. So we'll have a clip here of the Logarithms singing about permutations.
We have to make sure we do equal damage to all portions of mathematics.
Which one's your
We
dad?
don't leave algebra
On the
out.
He plays one instrument, he plays the kid's
Whereas, you should understand what order the hats came in, because we're going to talk about permutations. We got 4 hats, and we're going to try to arrange them in 4 factorial possible ways. Okay, you didn't bring your calculators, that's 24. The idea is not to repeat any one when we get back to the beginning. This sometimes works, sometimes doesn't.
Spun round the floor. The partners exchanged and we spun round again and came up with 3. 3, 1, 2, 4. Lost you that night over in the B. When will you transfer and come back to me? I cycle on over, but what do I see? It's only a 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 3. I know I must find you. I'll search the whole nation. I'll run through each sequence and each permutation. I'll shuffle and heel and then look some more. I only find 2, 3, 1. This isn't as easy as it seems. The repeated pattern won't do. I find that I loop in a CeeLo subgroup and come up with 4, 1, 3, 2. Jump to the coast and read the plan, picking up time as fast as I can. Then on to the next one and do it once more and find you with 1, 2, 3, 1.
So I'm sure you can sympathize with the stuff we had to put up with as children, you know. We were tormented by things like that by our dad. And they have a few other numbers they do, in particular they do pi. Of course, they sing pi. So another early, and later, of course, inspiration in terms of using music and art in general to introduce mathematics. Unfortunately, mathematics is not on this machine, it's not working. So I'll just talk through this example before we get to the audience participation part of the talk, okay, which is coming up soon. And so what I was trying to do here, this was several years back, teaching calculus, was trying to give students an idea of the sound of a function, whatever that would mean, okay? And in particular, to say a discontinuity. So in Mathematica, Steve and Amy Krug introduced me to sound in Mathematica. So I started using sound generally volume, but also pitch, etc., to illustrate functions. And you can hear the discontinuity. Again, the more senses you can get into something, the better perhaps the students will understand the concept and perform. So this one illustrates the discontinuities. You can see this is the sound profile that I would play in Mathematica as they looked at this function. So we'd sort of watch the function proceed across the screen. So I like to use the music to give one more sense to the students when they're learning these concepts in calculus. We can talk about smooth functions, we can talk C1 functions, so you can hear the slope continuity or discontinuity, etc., with the sound. So that was another thing that I like to do, one of my 5 easy pieces. And now it's time for the audience participation part. All right, so I'm going to need you all to clear your voice, get ready, because we're all going to sing. And so this is something I do in discrete math. When I saw this, I'm illustrating tree traversal. There are 3 different varieties of tree traversal. This is my favorite pre-order because it's the one used by Lisp, which is my favorite programming language. So when I saw that, I thought of a song. You know, that looks to me like a song that we're all going to sing together. So kind of high. Okay, I think I'm ready. Everybody, hit that one. Dun, 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 dun. You ready? Dun, 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 dun. How about that? Nice job. There's some voices out there. But we're not done. There's 3 kinds of tree traversal, right? That's just the pre-order. We got to do the in-order too, right? So you want to understand the in-order. How does that sound? All right? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, one more time, just for fun, okay? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and then that's in order. We got post order to do. Of course, we don't want to leave that one out. Okay? So here we come. Dun, 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 dun. I always make my students do it 2 times. Dun, 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 dun. Post order is kind of nice because if you're actually reading off the list, then you can actually release the memory as you go. This is the root node, and so you can be trimming away your tree as you go on a post order. So you can illustrate certain things, certain facets, and then you can actually hear this. Students tend to enjoy that. We don't get to sing things as often as we should. So, okay, so I'm down to my last one. So those are sort of current things that I like to do and use in my teaching. And this is one that I use in Math for Liberal Arts. So in Math for Liberal Arts, which I jokingly call math for people who hate math, okay? One of the things that I think is fun to do is to play with Möbius bands. They're just a lot of fun. You can cut them in all kinds of ways and do all kinds of interesting things. I came to it honestly because this was something my dad saw, or our dad saw, when he was at the Chicago Institute of Science and Technology. I don't think I got the title right, but when he was a kid, he saw this Möbius band, and he carved this out of wood, one single piece of wood. It's a bug on a band, and so you take the bug around one time, the bug ends up on the other side. So Möbius bands are really cool, and we can cut them, we can do all kinds of interesting things. But my students want to know, what's the practical value of this? They always say, well, why are we doing this? This is dumb stuff, you know. What's the value? So first of all, it's fun. I always tell them that. You should enjoy what you're doing, right? And then, well, our dad actually discovered something interesting, and this was his 15 minutes of fame. It was discovered by Ivers Peterson, who wrote for Science News, that there's 2 different kinds of recycling symbols. So he mentions Dad and talks about the fact that this is the typical symbol. It was a Möbius band. It was designed through a competition to be a Möbius band. But designers, in their infinite wisdom, decided it's a lot easier just to rotate one symbol. You build one symbol and then rotate it. And you can see the symmetry in this one that's broken in this. And so you get a thrice twisted band there that's frequently used for a recycling symbol. So Dad was very fascinated by Möbius bands. That's another one of my inspirations. There's, of course, the Firestone patent, the famous Firestone patent for a conveyor belt. The reason you would want to have a conveyor belt with one twist in it is because that way there's only one side, so it's abraded uniformly in working as a conveyor. So that's a nice thing to do with Möbius bands. And that was a Firestone patent to do that. It's also been done with typewriter ribbons. With lanyards that you wear are typically Möbius twisted so that they'll lay better on your body. But Weihart came up with the coolest use of the Möbius band. So when I want to illustrate the Möbius band in my class, I always show this particular, one more decorative art thing. Dad loved them enough that I think this was probably Steve's crazy idea, my brother's, I'm not sure, but to put Möbius bands on his gravestone.
Oh.
So we've got the correct recycling symbol and the incorrect recycling symbol. We thought he'd like to lay under that, you know. If he wanted to lay there and think about something, that would be a good thing to do. So this decorative art, you can do that with it, you know, that's cool. But Weihart has my hands-down favorite application. So here's Weihart playing the theme from Harry Potter on a Möbius music box. story about by heart. So it's just a kid, right? Not really 20-some years old. And I said, when I saw her work, I said, we've got to get this person to NKU. We've got to bring her in to speak. And so I approached her, I emailed her and said, we'd love to have you come speak. We have this big lecture in the fall, would you come in and give it? And she said, I'd love to, my fee is $5,000. So I wrote back and said, well, I'm afraid we won't have you as our senior lecturer this year, but tell me the deal. She says, I don't like to travel. So only if someone will pay her $5,000 will she go anywhere. I think her fee is higher now. She's been working for Conda Academy. Yeah, it's higher now. So we've never had her to campus, but she's one of my favorite mathematicians. She's done all kinds of interesting things. I actually have some links down there below, one of which is another that you should check out if you like that one. No one can beat by heart, holding space-time with her Möbius music box. Well, maybe her dad can. Her dad is George Hart, the famous mathematician. So there's a real family thing there, and I have a family thing with my dad. I pulled a dirty trick on Maria. I said, I could show some of my lame music on the Möbius music box, or would you like to compose something? And she agreed to compose something. So we're ready for the world premiere of a tune which is tentatively called Yes. Because she also has No, which is the one that didn't work out right. So actually I got two compositions out of this. I got Yes and No from Maria. So Maria, if you would come up and share your, and now if you wanted to give any thoughts about it, or now you do have a picture of the music, and I'm not sure, did we get that squared away, or?
Yeah, that should
Okay.
work.
Get some things out of your way.
Yeah, that's the reason. I can use some nice explanation about the chords, but the truth is that I was just not looking in the good place, and I put the whole in the bad place. But of course, we can talk about the dissonance or the chords and artistic choices behind it. But that's not true. Okay. Maybe we can.
Can we switch to, is the laptop on there?
Yes, so I can.
Okay.
You can
Let me try to,
show the.
we're checking out our technology right now, making sure that this is going to work. Do we actually have the,
Hope this works on here. Let's see.
on the laptop as source?
Yes, it's working.
Oh, good, yeah, perfect. Now the question is whether we'll get sound.
Yeah, I don't know about
I think
that.
so.
You think so?
Yes, it's working. Okay, the thing I tried to write.
Can we increase the volume at all?
It's not a lot, but
Okay.
yes, a little bit. Okay, the idea behind I was already immediately interested in this kind of experiment because of a lot of years ago I was studying a classical counterpoint. The idea is that with the small amount of themes, of notes, you can make a lot of transformation. A lot of time you use also inversions, as we've seen, retrograde, inverse retrograde, and also some numbers to make specific structures. A very famous example is this one by Cherubini. Because here is one of the masterpieces of this style, because we have the two choirs, and the first part that is reflected here with the inverse. So we have the second, the alto, the first choir, is mirrored in the tenor, the second choir, and so on. And to make that, composer were using some numbers. So they had its correspondence. For example, 5, that is a G in the soprano key, G, 5 that is reflected into A, 6, and so on. So there is a huge transition, and it's nice that we can combine this with our devices. We also can have some material I made time ago. For example, we can also play around with palindromes, also in music. So we read from this side or from the other side is the same. And in some classical work, you can have these symbols. This canon is original, but I wrote that on the basis of some Bach examples, like the Art of the Fugue, because it means that you can have two performers, they are like reading differently, and this is the sound result. So this one is the retrograde of this one, and they should work together. For today, what we're just trying yesterday is this one. It's a pretty short palindrome. It's until here in A minor, but I found out that it was sounding F, so I can play that for you.
Now this is Allegro. So are you going to be spinning really fast? Would you bring it closer? Maybe then everybody could hear better. If you brought the music box up here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there. All right.
Okay.
So let's sit there.
Well,
I think it close to you. Oh, okay.
Yes, it's pretty fun because the software create is very slow. So sometimes I have to put a faster tempo to have a nice tempo. But when performers read Allegro, they start playing faster. Faster and faster. So when you first hear that one and then here.
You want to hear it first?
Okay.
Okay, yeah, then we can hear it on the music
Okay.
box. That'll be kind of fun.
Okay, that is the A version, and then starts the F version.
Welcome. Hang on just a moment. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Thanks for coming. Yeah, dude, nice to see you.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Andy.
Nice to meet you. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Tyler.
Tom?
Doug. Great. Come on in.
Hi, Tyler. Steve.
We're missing one student.
Oh, that's right.
She's supposed to be here already.
Oh, is that right?
She said she's going to come down.
Ah.
Come here on Thursday.
Wow.
Last night?
Hopefully she'll show up. Okay.
It's a party,
Yes.
I guess. Last
All
night.
right. Well, I want to introduce our invited speaker. Okay. Maria this is Duke, and
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
you guys will have to go through your names again. And I've got
Okay,
name
name tag,
tags.
Yes,
right?
okay.
Name tag guy comes around, making you put on your name tags. So just everybody can grab a pen. So Doug. Okay, Maria.
Nice to meet you.
And Tyler. Or Tyler. Okay. And you are
Colin.
Colin.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Maria was just getting ready to present some music. This is the world premiere, so I wanted her to stop
Oh, okay.
and hold off because we wanted you to be here for the world premiere of this.
Yes.
It's actually a Möbius music box. Okay. So she's written a palindrome, a musical palindrome. It should sound nice, perhaps as Möbius music. Okay. So I'll turn it back over to you. Okay, Maria.
Yes, a very short example because I can quickly show you a couple of nice examples. There is a huge tradition in geometry style with transformation music, for example, inversion, retrograde, and so on. And those all kind of games. And I was just showing before this. It can be interesting. Of course, we can have example of palindrome and the inverse symbol. This is an original one, but from the model of Bach. It means that we have two performers. One is reading that way, and the other is reading this other way. And they make a canon, but it's not like an ordinary canon where you have a melody and the other starts later, because the other just the retrograde at the same time. So this is a pretty more chromatic, contemporary chromatic style written that 2 years ago, but it's based on these classical ideas. And a pretty nice example is this one, masterwork by Luigi Cherubini, because here you have two choirs, and you have a perfect inversion of all the parts. Like the blue one is here, light blue, perfectly yellow, and the same for all the parts. Like the alto, the first choir, is inside the tenor, second choir. Tenor, first choir, is inside the alto, the second choir. So everything is like that you had a mirror here. and the people make that by using numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, because for example, they consider that one is a G, soprano key, number 5, not like C, D, E, F, G, number 5. Number 5 corresponds to number 6. So here we 6 here. So that's how you can do that. Okay, let's go back.
What is that clef?
That's what I was wondering too, Steve.
Which
What-
one?
What's the clef?
Oh, yes, that's the C clef. It gives the position of C. Today is only used for, how to pronounce in English, viola?
Viola.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
they
yeah,
should.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
So the center position is the C position.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. But here I was using I was just using the original Cherubini variety with the old keys that are now no longer used. Only we now use the bass clef key, but before we had the soprano, alto, and tenor key. But also a clarinet player uses a lot still the tenor key. Sometimes you can see some cello music written in this key, and is used by old style composers. But it's very nice because you can also access to read a lot of nice ancient music. Because the origin is for voice, so the most practical voice tessitura, yes. And like the word, the word premiere we were talking about, yes. There is also another version with more chords, but just due to the mistakes that I made while I was preparing the little pose. And here you see the palindrome. So if you read that way or that way, you have the same notes. But of course, if you listen through all the sequence, it's different. We don't feel it. It's more like visual palindrome than here palindrome. And I can put it here. Yes, actually it was playing F.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Encore, encore.
And also thank you to the performer.
So does it work if you actually make that a MOV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not make that for the simple reason that I was using it for the first time. I was like very careful and okay, so.
So it's time to do it, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Just to,
So now we turn it into a verbious band and hear it upside down.
yeah. It was pretty
You
fun.
thought it was good the first way. Wait till you hear it upside down.
Okay.
Do you have to thread it first before you tape it?
Sorry.
Do you have to thread it through the music
Yeah.
before you tape
Good
it?
point, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I never did that.
But this is all
Good
thinking.
thinking.
Right.
It's early in the morning.
Yeah, still morning, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's not like this practical constraint that you have. Okay.
And we watched one, while you're doing that, I'll show them by hearts, okay? So I encountered this box from a by heart. Oops, I'm going to have to switch back. It should be okay. Let's try this. So by heart did one, and I shared this with
That's how-
Maria,
So,
so that, and she was very
Yes.
taken by it. And so, oops, sorry, gotta go back. Preceding video.
So in my street.
That's by heart, being crazy. Keeps her hand in a certain position there. beautiful?
Yeah.
No, I said.
The relationship between inversion and Mobius strip.
Yeah.
Oh, I never known that.
You get 2 pieces of music for the price of 1.
So regular strip only is the same thing.
Yeah, that's right.
It's inverse now.
But you just give it a twist, and away you go. You know? So I was planning on showing you some of my music, which I have proposed, which is silly stuff like put binary numbers in, so you can hear the binary numbers coming out, you know, in order.
Yeah.
But I said, you know, I could show that, or I could ask Maria to prepare something.
Okay.
And so she did this last night.
Oh.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so.
Oh, but they put everything the correct shape. Okay, this is the original one. Okay.
That's the hard part.
Yes. Oh, ah. Okay, some expressive sounds. Exactly. There is a huge
Grandpa's.
I will put in the score.
That's the tape.
Oh yes, maybe it was them too close.
Now the inversion starting it now.
Yes.
Yes. The same verse. Yes, that's what it was.
So last night she had to become a composer and a performer of Verbius music with a music box. So. Well, that was wonderful, Maria. Thank you so much for doing that. So the idea was we would have a little discussion. We were pretty much out of time, and my premise was that we were talking about art helps music, or helps math rather, and math helps art. And which side are you on, I said. And for me, as a mathematician, my focus is on using music to enhance my math. And that I would guess perhaps that many of us educators would be in the same boat. But there are those who, and I know you write music of your own, right, Duke? So, so if you, I wanted to mention, we saw a talk by Duke at Berea just a month ago, and I believe your title was something like Math and Music, Good Idea or Bad Idea.
Right.
And one of the premises was that the music had better sound good when it comes out.
Right.
So if it doesn't sound good, then you've made a blunder of some sort. So, but for me, you know, the music is in some sense incidental. It's supposed to propel the math. It's not really essential to be pretty. It should enhance the math somehow. And so for me, this device is about illustrating a value in Verbius bands and why we would want to consider them, because you get extra music for free using a Möbius band, using both sides of it. So. Okay, well, thank you. We want to welcome you, and you missed this part. I started off my talk by welcoming you to NKU, so I want to just go back and do a few of the things that we didn't get a chance to do the first time because you weren't around yet. So let me go back up here and just say that we're happy that you're here, and we're delighted, and that you'll need a parking voucher. Okay. I thanked a few people, and that we will have lunch. That's here, and I want to make sure everybody knows about Maria's talk. And then we have dinner tonight at the Guru Indian Restaurant. I hope you'll be able to join us, those of you that are able to. So anyway, with that, I guess we're about ready for your talk, Duke. So we'll just make a transition here.
Debbie shows up, and she's a collaborator in this talk. Anyway, I'll start talking.
Okay, now one thing we'll need to do is figure out if we can get the sound to play through here.
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't have a sound system?
Well, we just
So
were
we
trying
do,
it
but
now.
how do we,
Do you know how
everybody's
to?
connected just to
Well,
a
Colin, maybe-
projector
Colin,
system.
maybe you can help this. This is, yeah, we want to.
So we're hooked into the video. We've got the video, okay. Is there an audio cable that usually is associated with this?
Usually that goes in here.
Uh-huh, that comes out of there and goes into that. Okay, so we would need that.
You have a
cable.
speaker, so it should be somewhere.
Hmm.
Oh, Debbie, finally!
Ah.
She's a co-presenter.
She's made her appearance.
Yes.
Hey, she's right on time.
Yeah, that was
Debbie,
Okay,
first of
so
all,
the name tag,
we
name tag somewhere.
Name tag.
Figure out where it's fed.
I'm just.
Yeah, okay, good. That would be wonderful if that was all that.
If my laptop's any way,
Just this? Maybe if it is, okay, looks like you might have a fixed here, so let's see. Steve does have an extra cable, Colin, and that's helpful.
If you need
Okay.
more distance.
Also help me on internet access.
Oh, yeah, sure. Can I log in for you? No. If you need internet, you'll have to use Steve's, I think. Well, I don't know, but there's free NKU.
Yeah.
There should be, okay.
well, and you can log in.
Yeah, it's a map, he's got map stuff.
Oh, it's not a problem.
Is there volume control?
Yeah, there's a volume control.
As I do this, I need to be able to hear it.
So he's working on the video that he played earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did have sound coming through before.
Yeah.
from the Mac.
Well, no,
Yeah, from here.
Yeah.
From the iHeart video.
I've got the volume, it looks like it's at the volume all the way up there. We're on laptop.
How was the drive?
it was good.
It's kind of long,
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna take a quick trip down to education and see if they can get someone to help us, okay? So maybe you can get started and then we can jump in
let's try
with the
this
sound.
Okay. Let's try this case.
Now it's nothing, just above math.
I'll show you the sheet.